Well, welcome YouTube friends and family to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So today, finally, we're going to cover an old-fashioned Christmas in the 1950s. So stay tuned. So one of the challenges I'm having this morning filming in my dining area is not my beautiful aluminum tree, but if you look outside there, you can see one of two bulldozers. So yes, they're still working on the gas line, which was supposed to be finished in September. So I just have so much I want to share with you, and I had to really pare it down, so hopefully today's video won't be too long. So right here you see my authentic aluminum tree. So let me share with you. Ooh, it's kind of tight in here. This is the original box, and it's an aluminum taper tree, tapered nature's way, easy to assemble with self-centering stand. On the end you can see that it came from Sears. The box is not in great shape, and it cost $8.93. So how did I come by this tree? Well, before the resurgence of aluminum trees, I had been looking for quite some time. What I really wanted was a pom-pom tree. So instead of a straight branch like my tree has, some have a great big pom-pom on the end, and that's what my grandma had, but alas, that one is gone. So I happened to get on eBay, and I got this tree for $40. It's a 5-foot tree, so it's an absolute steal. So when you get an aluminum tree that is authentic, each of the little branches come in these paper tubes. And I have to show you, someone took the time to write number 8, 3 red marks. I think it's supposed to be 3 bars. I thought that was just so cute. Each one of the tubes are labeled. They're all the exact same. Nope, they're not the same length. I don't always put them back like they're supposed to be. But I love that it came with the original directions. So here they are. And guys, this is old-fashioned typewriter, probably mimeographed, and you can see the paper is super delicate. It has been, now how'd I get cat hair on that? There's cat hair on everything in my house. It's been taped once, but it tells you what markings to put on what level of the tree. So one disadvantage of where I have it, as you see, it goes up to the ceiling, so I can't put the center branch in or the topper, but I still really love it. I also want to share a little bit about what I'm wearing. So let me push you back, and I will show you. So first and foremost, yes, guys, I actually have my hair down to a fade, but I can't do a lot of the 1950s hairstyle because I have too long of hair, but this is an authentic 1950s dress. If you can see, it has buttons down the front. It has somewhat of a dropped waist. It has a metal zipper, of course, short sleeved. It's below knee length. I did find this at a vintage/antique store. Paid around $20 for it. It's absolutely one of my favorites. The material is kind of a rayon-ish feel, extremely comfortable, but I like to keep the wearing of it to a minimum because in actuality, guys, it's 70 years old. So when you think about it that way, it's been very well cared for and very well preserved. Some other things that you might have seen in the 50s, of course, is the pearls. Mine are faux. Trust me on that. I have pearl earrings. Generally, ladies with longer hair would pull one side back with a barrette or something sparkly. Again, the red lipstick, the black eyeliner, and fancy nails. Guys, I went all out because this is what I really, really enjoy. I would dress this way every day if I could afford all the vintage clothing, but alas, I cannot. So you know, I just bring it out every great once in a while. So let's get into what was going on in the 50s and what Christmas was actually like. Stay tuned. So let's talk a little bit about the 1950s, what was going on in the US, and why this time was sort of a magical time for many people. I wasn't born until 1961. My parents were married in 1950. I have an older sister that was born in 57. So a lot of the things in my early years that I grew up with were definitely carryovers from the 50s and bring back that feeling of nostalgia that I enjoy so much. So it was the post-war period, and it was considered the atomic age after the events that happened in the war. So the US totally transformed. It transformed politically, socially, especially economically, and even visually. So that is when tract houses and subdivisions started to come into play, and it was post-war modernism coupled with some space age aesthetics. Now, the moon landing wasn't until 1969, so we'll cover that a little more when we get to the 60s. I just wanted to pose a question. Do any of you all remember watching the moon landing? I totally do. I was 8 years old. I was at my cousin's house. My grandpa was there and he was like, oh, that's pretend. He didn't buy it for a minute. So it was a very sharp detour from the Victorian charm to more of a futuristic look at things. American consumers could now afford gifts and decor on a much larger scale, and things were also being mass produced, and industrial productivity was at an all-time high. In 1958, the economist John Kenneth Galbraith said, the ordinary individual has access to amenities, food, entertainment, personal transport, and plumbing that were luxuries just a few years earlier. So that old Victorian status quo was totally turned upside down in the 50s, and I'm going to read some quotes to you from one of my reference books that will make you chuckle a little bit. And did you know 3.5 million babies were born in the US in 1950, i.e. boomers. In the 50s and 60s, it became known as the atomic age because World War II made nuclear energy a reality and part of our national conversation. The awesome power of nuclear energy was communicated through the design of objects, graphics, and animation. So you've all seen the stylized model of the atom, like the ovals, the overlapping ovals with the circles that are supposed to orbit. We started to see atoms appear in comic books, toys, light fixtures, tableware. So that's a lot of that mid-century modern aesthetic that you see, those futuristic atomic type designs. There was also the Googie movement. And when I read it the first time, I was like, the Google movement? I don't think there was Google in the 50s, but it's Googie. And that was a certain style. So it was the neon signs with the zigzags, with the starburst. So some iconic Googie landmarks are like the Jetsons house, which isn't real, I know that, guys, but also the Welcome to Las Vegas sign is considered a Googie landmark. Another thing I did not realize, in 1957, Dr. Seuss wrote The Grinch. Did y'all realize it was that old? I certainly didn't. And it was really a critique of post-war America's love affair with commercialism and all of the trimmings that go along with that were coming out in the 1950s. So I want to read you a little ad that appeared in a Macy's ad in 1951. So here's what it says. Buy nothing out of fear. Buy only what you need or can use, but don't buy one extra thing because of what might happen. There are goods enough to satisfy our needs, but there can never be enough goods to satisfy our fears. Wow, that kind of does not resonate today with prepping, etc., but I thought that that was interesting. Merchants worried that people were buying too much, especially when post-Christmas sales surged. Excuse me, why are you buying so much, New York? Macy's asked in a full-page ad, concluding that the spending spree was spurred by fear of shortages. The store then published that admonishment. So I thought that was Super interesting, and certainly nothing an advertiser would probably do today, right? I don't think so. So, what was expected of the 1950s housewife related to the holidays? A lot was expected of the 1950s housewife. So, we had a lot of new gadgets and things that made life a little easier for homemaking and in the kitchen. So, the wife was expected to really create an all out gorgeous Christmas. So, she needed to do her own tablescape, her own mantelscape. Make her own wreaths, make her own centerpieces. And so there was still a lot of make it, but they were buying the supplies, of course, to make it. Some of the things that you might have seen in the 50s that were handmade are angels, driftwood painted white and sprinkled with glitter, mirrors wrapped with red satin bows, baskets of pine cones, and then gilded deer. So buying a deer and then figuring out how to adhere glitter or something else sparkly to it. Outside was the man's domain. So you have to remember, roles were a little bit different in the 1950s. So that's when the outdoor light extravaganza started. And I never knew what these were called. They're actually called blow molds. Do you remember, if you're old enough, the big plastic, like there were Santas, there were snowmans. We actually had candles, which I thought were super tacky and I was a little embarrassed about, and I would give my eye teeth for now. So blow molds have actually gotten so popular now. And as I've been doing my thrifting, for like a set of matching candles, they're around $200. And I'm like, hey mom, what happened to those candles? Because I might drag them out. But as I recall, they were always like leaning and blowing over. But that is some of the things that those neighborhood plats that were new began to have contests and see who could outdo each other decorating their home with outside lights. So let's talk a little bit more about the aluminum tree. So in 1950, 73% of all households were putting up a real tree. In the later 50s, that all changed, and everyone started jonesing, if you will, for an aluminum tree. There was an artificial aluminum tree that was called a silver pine, and it bursts onto the scene like a blonde bombshell, one of the books said. It came in a variety of colors. Silver was the most popular, gold was second, but there was also like red, green, pink, etc. It was roughly popular 55 to the mid 60s. Now, I have tried to research my tree. I can't tell you how old it is. I'm going to say late 50s, probably. There's no brand name that I can find even on the instructions that really point me to exactly how old it is. One thing about an aluminum tree is lights could not be used because of the risk of shock because it's a metal tree. So in comes the color wheel. Now, I don't have a color wheel for my tree. You can purchase modern ones, like reproduction ones, but I happen to think once my tree is fully decorated with all of my shiny, bright vintage ornaments, I don't really need a color wheel. The first aluminum tree was made by Modern Coatings in Chicago, but the most popular were made by Aluminum Specialty Company in Manitowoc, Wisconsin in the 60s. So I'm jumping ahead just a little bit. The most popular model was called an Evergreen and cost $25. So just for giggles, I went out on eBay and I looked, and oh my word, guys, depending, like if you want a full-size tree, $600 to $800 is what they're going for now. Now, I realize it's right before Christmas, and eBay probably would not be my first choice. I would try to thrift, garage sale, estate sale if I was looking for an aluminum tree. They're made kind of interesting. The middle pole, which you can see right here, is wood, and it has holes drilled at an angle, and you simply slide those branches in up to the top. Aluminum trees were always prettiest when they were brand new because the oils from our fingers dingy up, if you will, that aluminum tinsel. So I'm pretty careful with mine. I do put it up what's the point of having it if I can't enjoy it? However, I will say, it is behind the cat gate because Hanky Panky Frankie has a total love for anything tinsel because he likes to chew it. And I don't want to have to take Frankie to the kitty hospital like I did last Christmas. Not because he chewed my tree. I never did. They thought he maybe had the kitty flu. So I don't know. I think he ate something. He wouldn't tell me. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mom. He's a little ticked at me right now, guys, because he's like, you are on the video and I need to be on the video, Mom, and you're behind a cat gate and I can't get to you. But this is where I cure my soap. I do a number of things in here. So I don't want cat hair in the environment for sure. So let's talk about ornaments. So I am going to share with you a portion, just a portion, guys, of my Shiny Brite ornament collection. So I've talked about Max Eckert and how he was originally making ornaments in Germany, how he came to the US, he contracted with Corning, they modified their glass light bulb machine maker so that they could mass produce Christmas balls. And after the war, his Shiny Brites took the lead. There were certainly other types of post-war ornaments, but his was in the lead. So with wartime shortages over, they could now produce gold and silver. So they had things like multicolored bands like rings of Saturn. So let me show you. Here is an example of multicolored bands. I thought about getting like super technical. You can actually tell the age of a Shiny Brite by removing the little metal cap, and it does say Shiny Brite on it, and looking at the style of cap hook. However, these are quite old and I don't want to take a chance on breaking one. So plus it's really, you know, they're old. Yeah, a lot of them are from the 50s. How's that? Another thing that they had, let me grab this here, were silk screened images and messages. So this one, also quite old, let me stand here, has stars and they are glittery stars. I have some. I have a lot, guys. Let me see if I can lay my hands on one really quick. Probably not. Yeah. Is this one? Yeah, here's another one that has the little snow cap top, but I have some. Oh, here's one. Yeah. Sometimes I'm not as organized as I might be. Okay, here's one that says Merry Christmas, and this one is from the 50s. But isn't it lovely? I just think they're so charming and so classic. They had what they called, I tried to get an example of each one of these guys, and I am just doing a poor job here. What they called reflector balls. So they had an indent, so this helped reflect the light. This is a really pretty one. It's missing some of its glitter, but classic 1950s. They had ombres where, and I have some of those, where it's lighter at the top and it progresses to dark. In World War II, one way you can date your ornaments is some of them, the little cap was made of cardboard. I personally do not have any of those. I've seen them for sale, but they are so fragile, you really couldn't do anything but display them. You really couldn't hang them on a tree. So I have a lot of Shiny Brites that I have collected over the years. So let me stand up here because I want to kind of share with you some of the different box designs and what year they actually came from. So a lot of my boxes are coming apart. So if you notice, there's Uncle Sam shaking hands with Santa, and this is actually from the 1940s. Now, what I will share, sorry guys, that got a hair in my lipstick. Oh yeah, here's some really pretty ones. Here's another Merry Christmas hot pink one. Sorry about the reflection. I love this. I have this in a couple colors. It says Silent Night. I don't always put the ornaments back in the box that I purchased them in, but I'm not even sure that the ornaments in the box were correct. I also have this beautiful tree topper. It is shiny Brite. This is in excellent, pardon me, excellent condition. I really tried my best, guys, to put it up. There's just no way. So it is an indent ball. It is pink and turquoise. It has the pink in here as well, then turquoise. It is lovely. It is glass. It is quite fragile. And I actually had this for many years, and I purchased this at a thrift store for a very economical price. Thankfully, you can still find a lot of shiny Brites on the secondary market for not a lot of money. I also have the box. I've used the hooks for the ornaments for shiny Brite Christmas tree hangers. It had 125 pieces, and you can see here the price was 8 cents. How cool is that? I have 4 boxes. Oh, I have a lot, guys, of the little shiny Brite ornaments. These I generally display unless I'm putting up a small tree. And those smaller boxes are from the 50s. Another style of box that you see is the cardboard box with the big window. And this was also 1950s. This one's not in the best of shape either, but I have something in worse shape as well. This is another one with Uncle Sam shaking hands with Santa Claus. So a little bit older. It's been taped, and I have some really unique ones in here. I have some little bells, some little swirly ones. I think this is supposed to be a pine cone. So yeah, that's a, well, and some more of the, some more stripey ones. So some of them are very, very old. You can see this one's really cracked and crazed. And it still says shiny Brite on the top. And then finally, I have 2 boxes of these. However, I will say this box isn't so bad. The other one is completely deplorable. And I could not find online what year this was from. It's very plain as far as the style of the box. So I'm wondering, and it's also red, not green. I'm wondering if it's earlier than all of the rest. And I just have a variety of ornaments in here. See if there's anything. Well, this one's super pretty. That one's very pretty. So I will load up my tree a little bit later on with all of these gorgeous, gorgeous balls and bulbs. I just love them. There's also teardrop. And then I wanted to show you the one that looked atomic, but I'm not laying eyes on it right now. Okay. This one was considered an atomic shape. So that influence of the atomic age, post-war, even carried over into the ornaments. With the introduction of plastic, folks that were using a real tree and could use lighted tree toppers were getting those not cardboard, plastic stars that lit up, or the angels, you know, they had the 2 lights, one in each hand. I think those are very, very pretty, but they were electric lit from within tree toppers. So for lighting, this was when GE first introduced bulbs. So I think I have a picture of a really cool ad that I wanted to share. So it shows Santa, yes, riding on a light bulb, which looks kind of like a rocket ship, but this is a GE ad for lights. In our last video, I did speak about Noma, which I kept calling Nova lights that came out in the 30s. And I do want to share, this is not 50s, this is pre-50s. So here's an example. And guys, I would never plug this in because I don't trust it. It says, the fuses protect you. Yeah, don't trust that. One of the cool things, this makes a great display item. And I hate that there's tape damage, but there is. But they advertise a safety plug replaceable fuses to avoid short circuits or overloading, and use with your old lights and obtain protection for all. Each lamp operates independently, so you don't have to go change them out. Now, what I will say is one of the bulbs in here says GE, but I don't plan to use it. But guys, look how old this plug is. Yeah. So we'll be looking at that. We won't be putting that up, lest I burn down the house and all the work I've done to get ready for Christmas. So that's a little bit about lighting. So what were gifts like? So this is when multiple gifts became common. So we began to move away from the homemade and really go for that commercial, buy something from the store. So I have a few toys that I want to share with you. It might make you feel a little old. It did me. Barbie was introduced in 1959. For boys, there were a lot of chemistry sets, space toys, rockets, Lionel train sets. Also, there was Viewmaster. Remember the little thing you look through and you click it and the pictures go round and round. Color Forms, which I had, which it was sort of it was a vinyl sticker that you could put on a background that came in the box that you could change up the scene. Mr. Potato Head. Had one. Ant Farms, Play-Doh, Frisbee, and Hula Hoop. So I got wondering, I wonder, in today's market, what those cost. Guys, I found it. So inflation was generally mild during the 1950s, and what there was more than made up for by the rising wages. Contemporary equivalents are listed. So an artificial tree with fireproof boughs, I mean, who doesn't want fireproof boughs, was $5.95 in today's dollar, $43.45. And I'm not going to read all of these. Sirloin steak per pound was 89 cents, $7.10 in today's market. A Whitman sampler, 1 pound box of chocolates, $2.25, $7.90 in today's value. Nestle chocolate chip morsels, 6 ounce bag, 6 ounce, not the big bag, guys. 19 cents, $1.50 an hour, money today. A man's dress shirt was $2.89, $21.25 in today's dollar. Women's wool coat with mink trim, and we're going to talk a little bit about adult gifts as well. $79 to $139, which is $627 to $1,100 in today's money. So pretty extravagant gifts. Women's dress shoes, $7.99 to $18.95, which is $60 to $143. Westinghouse refrigerator was $319 and up, which is $2,614.75 in today's money. 36-inch gas range was $98, $720 in today's dollar. RCA 21-inch black and white TV, $99, which is $798. So TVs have actually gone down if you're looking at any Black Friday sales for sure. 8mm movie camera and light bar, $55, which is $436 in today's money. Children's cowboy boots, $4.95 to $7.95, which is $39 to $64, kind of pricey. Jenny doll, just in her underwear, no clothes for Jenny, $1.98, which would be $16.30 in today's money. Deluxe senior chemistry set was $11.25, which is $101.80 in today's money. A satellite launcher with rotating radar tracking station. Who wouldn't want the radar tracking station? $4.98, which is $37.70. So some of the things are not that far out of line of today's prices. But with the big wage increase, people were a lot more willing to splurge. Plus, many of the men were back from war and back to being the main wage earner. So what were grown-up gifts? So ladies, of course, coats with mink trim, fur trim, furniture like dining room sets, serving carts, like I found at my vintage haul. Westinghouse did a big ad, and they said they were in cahoots with Santa. I thought that was so cute. So they were advertising pop-up toasters, automatic coffee makers, and all sorts of appliances. And some other things were phones, typewriters, and fancy clothes. Not clothes from necessity, clothes that were extravagant and extra. So I hope you've enjoyed this portion, but I want you to stay tuned. So I'm going to tell you a little story, true story, kind of a funny story. So personally, and I've shared this before, I don't drink. However, there has been a family recipe for fruitcake that has gone around through the family since the 1950s. And that's what we're going to make today. And I'm going to share my family recipe, guys, because, you know, I have no secrets, right? So someone in the family that was making it had to go to the liquor store because it takes whiskey. And so they would pass around this bottle of whiskey, you know, like, I got the stuff, you know. So one year, the church did a cookbook. And this particular person may have been like the creator of the recipe. I don't know. But she submitted the recipe, but instead of whiskey, she put apple juice. And so people were making this fruitcake, and it was awful because, you know, of course all the alcohol cooks out. So I actually had to go to the liquor store to get the ingredients for my fruitcake, but I'll put it in a brown paper sack and hide it away and pass it around to anyone else in the family who wants to make a fruitcake this year. So I'm going to kind of red this up. I need to put an apron on. I may have to put my hair up, guys, because I don't want a hair on my food, or flip it back or do something with it. But stay tuned, and we are going to make some Cottle, C-O-T-T-L-E, my maiden name, Cottle family fruitcake from the 1950s. Stay tuned.
Because Frankie will be mad at me if I don't let him say hello. Huh? Yeah, hello. That's a good boy. Okay, go play.
Oh, all right, guys. So did you all have a nice Thanksgiving? I trust you did. Mine was quiet, for sure, but some good eating. And you may notice I am wearing one of my true vintage 1950s aprons. Has a little cat on the pocket. It's turquoise. I was like, oh, it has a cell phone pocket. But yeah, no. This one is actually reversible, and it's sheer on the other side with a little pocket. So I thought that was super cute. Had it for years. So let's get started on our fruitcake. So here's what I want to say to y'all. You may be like, fruitcake. This is nothing like fruitcakes that are like paperweights that are awful. This is delicious. I have never ever had anyone try my fruitcake that did not like it. Now there were a few that wouldn't try it, so take that for what it's worth. So the first thing you're gonna need is an angel food cake pan or a tube pan. I've never done it in anything but this very, very old, probably from the 50s angel food cake pan. And you'll notice it is lined with a brown paper sack. I spared you that mess. So what you do is you take a clean brown paper sack, you cut for the center, you cut the disc and the centerpiece. Go ahead and grease that, grease both sides of the paper. Now you can use vegetable shortening, or I used lard because vegetable shortening is soybean, which I can't have. Then you want to line the inside of your tube pan and then place it all together, and it is ready for the batter. Now I have my oven preheating to 350. I have a very large oven. It takes forever. It will probably beep at us before I have it ready. So first thing we're going to do, and guys, this takes 30 days before you can actually eat it, so I will tell you that. And it's not low in calories. It's very rich. You want to slice it very thin. So not low in calories. Did I say that once? Three sticks of butter. So I have had them out at room temperature. However, what I will say is, you can hear my heat cut on in the background. Because I'm wearing short sleeves, I'm living large, guys. Yes, indeed, I turned my heat up to 64. So I normally keep my heat, I tried 60 and I just can't. With my arthritis, I get stiff when I get cold. So yeah, I keep it 62 in the day and then 58 at night because I'm under some really nice heavy blankets. I don't get cold at all, but I will tell you, when you get up in the morning, because I have a lot of glass downstairs along the back, and my insulation stinks, just saying, and I have not put up my bubble wrap yet. It's usually about 56 down here. So yeah, needless to say, the butter is like almost chilled. So I'm going to stick that in my KitchenAid. I'm going to put on the paddle beater. Maybe, there we go. I'm going to pull up the bowl and I am going to start to cream this. Once my butter has kind of softened, we are going to add 6, yes, I said 6 eggs, one at a time, and beat well after each addition. Once you kind of have that fluffiness and everything seems well incorporated, I will bring you back to show you what it looks like and what our next steps are. And guys, someone commented, I am awful about names. I read every one of your comments. I try to respond to every single person. And somebody said they were making a white fruitcake, and I was like, oh, I so need one of those too, because I wasn't sure what it was. So it's white cake instead of yellow cake, so it must take out the egg yolks. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have to get back with that person and say, hey, will you share your recipe? So anyway, here we go. I'm gonna get my butter creamed, add my 6 eggs one at a time. I'll bring you back to show you what it looks like. Stay tuned. So I thought I'd just bring you over here to the mixer so you can see. So to my 3 sticks of butter, and I did use unsalted, I don't think it really matters. 6 eggs, I added 2 cups of sugar, and I have just beat that until it's well incorporated. Now the next thing I'm gonna add is 2 teaspoons of baking powder, not soda, powder. This is not a cake that rises a lot, I will tell you that. But nonetheless, I'm gonna add in my baking powder and make sure that's well incorporated before I start adding other things. Because at the end, we are going to be stirring this mixture. And when we get ready to put it in the pan, you'll see just how thick it really is. I also did not share with you my pin. It's kind of hidden by my hair. My grandpa that was married to my grandma Victoria, when my grandma Victoria died, and she died at age 72, he remarried a few years later, and I was blessed with a lovely second grandma, Hazel, who's now gone as well. And this was one of her vintage pins. I have several brooches, guys, and I just get a lot of pleasure out of wearing things that were family, for sure. And I'm going to be really honest with you all, so maybe this will help someone else. I think it's so important that we're our authentic selves. And you know, I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't watch regular TV. And I was really afraid, there's no other word, like I did not want to share certain pieces and parts of my life, which everybody needs to keep certain things private. But I was afraid that if I wore vintage clothes or shared my love of all things 50s, 60s, whatever, mid-century, that people would think I was weird. And you know what? I think it is important that we embrace diversity, and we all have different interests. I won't bring something on my channel that people aren't interested in, but I got such a lovely response from my vintage thrifting. It's on, guys. Now, not every video is going to be vintage. Not every video will I be dressed vintage. But now and again, I probably will be, because no one made fun of me. I didn't have to delete any comments. It was really, really nice. So For that, guys, I thank you. And don't be afraid to be your authentic self, because as it turns out, y'all still like certain weird parts of my authentic self. Okay, so recap. 3 sticks of butter, 6 eggs, 2 cups of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I know this is out of order. I am going to add my vanilla next. I just like to make sure those ingredients are really incorporated before this starts getting thick. So there's 1, and I only use pure vanilla. So let's give that a little whirl around. I guess you don't need to look at me for that. So yeah, you see what I got back here? So the next ingredient that we are going to put in is some bourbon or whiskey. Now guys, I had gone to Walmart and I saw a big sign that said liquor. And I thought, wow, okay, so now Walmart has liquor. But when I picked it up, it said 42 proof. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't think that's right. So I walked around, tried to find someone to help me. And like everyone that worked there was like 12 years old, probably not of drinking age. So finally I found a gentleman of about my age, and I asked him, and he was like, oh no, you'll have to double the amount. I'm like, I can't, it's a cake. And it was Southern Comfort. And he was like, honey, Southern Comfort tastes like perfume. So needless to say, I schlepped to the liquor store, and the only brand that I really recognized was Jim Beam. I don't know a lot about it, but, and when I got it from my mom, it was always in a mason jar in a brown paper sack, so I have no idea what brand. But what you need here is 1/2 cup. So this is what causes your fruit to really candy, your cake to be moist and delicious. Now, if you consume it before the 30-day cure period, I'll say, it has an alcohol taste to it. Once it's fully, I don't know what else to call it besides cured, it's fine. It doesn't taste like alcohol at all. All right. So, woo-wee, guys, that smells. Okay, so the last thing that we need to add is 4 cups of all-purpose flour. So I'm just going to add that kind of gradually. Excuse my reach here. I'm pretty impressed. I was leery about a 1/2 apron because when I spill on my shirt, not on my bottom, but so far it's worked out. Okay, so there's 1/2. I gotta count out loud, guys. 1. You can see this is a big cake. 1 1/2. 2. I'm gonna let that incorporate for just a moment here and scrape down my bowl. And I use 1/2 cup measures, guys, just simply because it fits in the canister better. So we're going to let that take a good trot around for a while. I'll scrape down the bowl. So you can see the batter's pretty thick. I do want to get that flour off the beater, Guys, I've been looking at one of those Bosch mixers. Okay, do I need it? Absolutely not. I'm trying to stay, today is actually Friday, so I'm trying to stay off Black Friday. And hey, guys, I've already sold out of a few things, and I apologize profusely. I'm already out of the deodorant, and I'm sorry I have no more containers on hand, and I'm not going to order supply at the end of the year because of inventory and tax reasons. So that's the other reason why I don't produce in December. I used up all the containers I have. So I apologize, guys. Love to help you out with anything else that you might like to try. I'm telling you, you're missing out on the skincare if you don't order it. Where can you buy the face wash, the toner, and the moisturizer, organic ingredients? Now, I've shared on a previous video, I'm not going to go into it, what all is in my face lotion, because it does have some emulsifiers and waxes, etc. But I'm telling you, it has done wonders, guys, for my skin, which wasn't bad to start with. I am impressed with myself. So, $25. Guys, get on it. I have a lot on hand. I'm not low on that, so you definitely want to order it. The other thing I'm getting low on are the shaped soaps. Say that very carefully. So, yeah, don't miss out. And again, the prices are good through midnight Sunday. All right, here we go. I always like to double check my recipe. So 3 sticks of butter, 6 eggs, half a cup of whiskey, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 4 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 2 cups of sugar. Now we are going to pull our bowl, and everything else goes in by hand. So let me scrape these beaters. Guys, I should have put my hair up. It's bugging me. I had to resort to hot curlers today, and I haven't been, as y'all know, I've been wearing the bun, so I hadn't blow dried my hair in well over a month, and I think it's a little healthier. The other thing I'm doing is when I take vitamins, I take prenatal vitamins because they don't upset my stomach, and because I'm not a good meat eater, they have iron in them, and I'm usually low in my iron when I have my blood work. So anyway, I've been taking those as well. So grow hair, grow. But I did trim it a little bit, as I'm sure you can tell. All right. Now, let me scoop this aside. Now comes the muscle part, but this is what makes the fruitcake good. Okay, so what you're going to need is a pound of pecans or pecans. You need a pound of candied pineapple. And I purchased mine at Walmart. This is what it looks like. They didn't have the pound ones. And then you need a pound total of cherries. So they didn't have the half pounds. They only had the pounds, but I want red and green in there because we don't cut these. And then when you slice this very firm fruit cake, you get a cross section of a whole cherry. It's beautiful. The last thing is a pound of fruitcake mix. Now, when you're buying a fruitcake in the store, like an Intamin's or whatever, this is what's in there. And because it has orange peel and lemon peel in it, it can be bitter. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like the fruitcakes they buy in the store, because it has too much fruitcake mix. So my secret plan, and the way I always make it, is I do add a bit more cherries, and I don't do the full pound of fruitcake mix. So this is what the pineapple looks like. And you want to hand stir this in. You know, the mixer, first of all, would bog down. And secondly, wow, that's sticky. You want to keep them whole. So it's going to take some muscle. So let's get our pineapple. And I had to laugh the other day when I was at my mom's. There's a little stem in there. I go shopping. I always call it going shopping at my mom's. I was looking through her Christmas decor. I put up all her tree and did all that stuff for her. And I found like 8,000 fruitcake fruit containers that Mom had saved to use for Tupperware. And so, you know, Lord forbid I'd throw it away. So I just threw it away. I didn't ask. Because one day when my mama's gone, yours truly is going to have to clean up all of those leftover fruitcake containers, so it's easier to do it a little bit at a time. Okay, so let me grab a spoon here. So this is 2 pounds. Now, I have made little cookies with this fruitcake mix, and this is what it looks like. They're okay. They're not all that. They're okay. Okay. So I'm gonna use like that much because well, maybe I better use a little more. I just don't want it to be bitter. All right. And then we still are shy 1/2 pound of cherries, so let me put the majority of this pound in there. Yeah. And so I'll save those leftovers strictly for perhaps cookie making. So let me flip you down here and show you. Now comes, as I said, the hard part. Ugh. We haven't put our nuts in yet. I'm gonna do that last, but I wanna get this fruit kind of mixed in. Isn't that beautiful? Doesn't that just scream the 1950s? It does to me. I won't be licking that bowl. Whoo-wee. It smells boozy. I know some people actually soak their fruitcake, like the brown paper around it, in alcohol, you know, because they like that alcohol taste. I don't, so I won't be doing that. Okay. Now, I need this whole pound package of pecans in there. So, is this an inexpensive cake to make? No. What I can tell you is it freezes beautifully. It tastes good in the refrigerator forever. And I can remember many times, even with a family of 4, we would have fruitcake well up into the following fall because you just eat it in such small amounts. Okay. My mom always did this part with her hands. But I'm going to try to, well, I guess I'm kind of doing it with my hands. I'm going to try not to. But you do want to make sure you've got all of your fruit and nuts well incorporated and you don't have areas that are just plain batter. All right. So, oh, that is so heavy. That's what we have, guys. Let me wash my hands. I'm going to get it into the pan, which may be a messy endeavor. So I will bring you back and show you what that looks like once it's in the pan and ready for the oven. So here we have our gorgeous fruit cake. My suggestion to use, I used a big spoon. I would put a layer, press it down with the spoon, put another layer, because you don't want to have gaps in your cake for sure. And then I had slopped some on the center, so I did clear that off. But it does not rise a tremendous amount. It will rise a little bit. So we are going to put this in a 300-degree oven for 2 hours. And it will be lightly golden brown on the top. Then let me share with you what you need to do. You need to leave it in the pan overnight. So needless to say, we won't have a reveal of the fruitcake out of the pan or a taste test until Christmas time, at which time I will. Once it's been in the pan overnight, you're going to remove the pan, but you're going to leave the brown paper on. Do not tear that brown paper off. That's what helps it to stay moist. You wrap it in foil, put the whole thing in a plastic bag like a grocery sack, and store in the refrigerator for about 1 month before serving. So let me get this in the oven and we will do a wrap up. Stay tuned. Well, this was truly a delightful video to research and to record. Our fruitcake is in the oven, a couple hours. That'll help heat the house, which is always a good thing. I still need to put the ornaments on my vintage aluminum tree. And then I plan to relax a little bit. So drop me a comment below. Do you like fruitcake, and do you have a special family recipe for your fruitcake? Or is this something you might give a try to? It does feed a big crowd, so it's great if you're having sort of an open house or a party of some sort, and you'll be surprised at the number of people who actually find out they do indeed like fruitcake. I am trying to remember to ask you all, if you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button. If you found the video by searching for 1950 and you somehow landed here, I'd love to have you as part of my channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring the bell to be notified of all the new videos. And guys, could you do me a favor, for those of you who are subscribers, or even if you're not? I would love it if you would share my video. I'm working really, really hard on my channel to try to grow my channel, to try to bring you excellent content that you enjoy, that you can learn something, but you can also have a little bit of fun with. And it really helps me out when you share my video. There's usually a button, if you're on a mobile device, down below that says share with a little arrow. Once you click on that, it will give you your options. So I will be back on Tuesday. I'm all goofed up this week since yesterday was Thanksgiving. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's Friday, but it is Friday for me. Saturday for you all watching. And I wanted to share with you, Miss Jasper and I are having our girls' annual Christmas Make It Day on Sunday afternoon. So we will be doing a little videoing because Jasper has some really, really exciting new products to share with you. And I definitely want you to be aware of what she has coming out. I love all of her makeup, her lip colors, her eye colors. She's just knocking it out of the park, doing a phenomenal job, so you don't want to miss that. It's not what the whole video will be about. We're going to actually make a few candles, bath and body products, who knows what we girls get into, exchange our Christmas presents, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So I will see you all on Tuesday. As always, be healthy, be well, be blessed, take care, and I'll see you very soon.